There you go.
So it's strange listening to myself.
It's gonna be dope, but it's gonna be dope when you listen to it when it's out.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It's gonna live forever now.
I know.
After that, So
my mom and dad are in India just traveling.
Yeah.
The whole country. They haven't been in a couple of years.
Oh,
So,
wow.
I told them, and it's like, I think it's like 8 p.m. there right now.
Okay.
So they're like, "Oh my God, I'm like, just relax. I'll get it to you guys." They're literally like kids, man.
Oh, that's dope. I love it. Your episode will come out. It'll come out next Friday.
Oh, that's
not this
fantastic.
Friday.
Okay, next
The
Friday.
following Friday. Yep.
You guys are good, really.
We're recording.
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
Shout out mom and dad.
Yeah. Always.
You got to make sure you mention them when we get going.
Yeah.
Cell phones off.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm good. About to drop in any second. Welcome everybody to the Follow D Money podcast. I'm here with a good friend of mine. I've known this guy for, man, if I had to guess, at least 6-7 years.
Yeah.
At least.
At least 7.
Yeah, at least 7 years. He is a dentist. Dr. Patel is here with me. And I brought you here because we had a conversation at the airport and you became more dynamic just in that conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm always looking for different stories, and I have a lot of friends who are successful, but with success, what are you doing with it? And that's usually what brings people to the podcast is the dynamic of your success. You know what I mean? So I want you to introduce yourself, tell people where you're from and how you got to where you are.
Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
This is fantastic. A long time coming. And very congratulations on your success.
Thank you, man.
And you guys are crushing it here, you know.
Thank you.
My name is Ankit Patel, and I'm a dentist.
Yep.
I was born and raised in India.
Okay.
And I didn't move to the States till I was 13.
Wow.
I did not know how to speak a lot of English.
Right.
And this is very funny.
Do they teach English in
They
India?
do. They do, to a degree. But then when that bell rings at 4 p.m., it's back to your native language, right?
Wow, yeah, right.
So more than half of your life is just all your native language.
Yep.
And mom and dad do a good job of sticking to English, but it's very different when you come to the States with all the slangs or all the little words. And because we get taught British English there. So there's some spelling differences.
Yep.
There's a lot of behaviors that are different, you know. And so one thing that really helped me when we got to this country, we stayed with my aunt in New Jersey.
Okay.
And she put me onto the show, Saved by the Bell.
You were Slater.
I was, and I would literally watch episodes and pick up all these things.
Wow,
yeah,
man, that's
and
so interesting.
Yeah, so after a year, my brother was a lot younger. He's 6 years younger than me, so he got here when he was 7. So he picked it up very quickly.
Right.
Took me about a year, and then
and then. That's quick though.
Yeah, now and then when I see you out, if I'm in the right state of mind, you can hear the accent.
Oh, really?
It just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, we moved to Indianapolis when I was a freshman at IPOI.
Okay.
My mom got a job here, so then moved here on the border of Brownsburg and Indianapolis.
Okay.
Where they still live.
Nice.
And went to IPOI. Went to Boston for dental school.
Okay.
And then did some residency in Morgantown, West Virginia. Out of nowhere, yeah.
Wow.
And then slowly made my way back to the Indianapolis.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
What made you choose dentistry?
Yeah, so very interesting. Sometimes, I probably feel sometimes life picks things for you, chooses for you, makes the decision process that much easier for you. I was in between medicine and dentistry, and I had applied to IU Med and IU Dental, which I do not recommend to do both at one time. I didn't think the schools would communicate.
Yeah.
And I had my med interview first, which went, I would say, average. And when I did my dental interview, in the forum, they always have one of the people there as a fourth-year dental students to kind of give you a real perspective on what their life is like as a dental student.
Right.
Well, that particular person knew I had already applied to IU med school. So when they got back to me, they were very unsure. And after a few days, they had decided they didn't want to waste a seat on someone that didn't have a decision made.
Oh, wow.
At the same time, I got a call from Boston, and I'd applied to BU Med and BU Dental.
Yeah.
And BU Dental basically said, hey, we have a seat available. We'd love to have you. And I was debating after I heard, and I got a call from a buddy of mine who was in second year IU med student at the time. And he was miserable. He hated his life. He's like, I don't know if I can do this. This is absurd, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this is where I'm standing. He goes, you need to just go to dental school.
Dang.
And at that point, I don't even think I had a choice. It was either BU Dental or wait another year and try again and go gung-ho for medicine, or just pick and go to dental school at IU. I just took a leap of faith and got out and went to Boston and never looked back. So I wouldn't say, not to take it away from a lot of kids that are in high school and middle school that have dentistry as a lifelong passion. I'd be lying if I said that, when I went my first dental appointment, I wanted to become a dentist. I knew it. I didn't.
Right.
It was chosen for me.
Yeah.
And it seemed like a easier path. And so I took it. Dental school was very hard once you got in.
I bet.
As you know, it's what you make of it,
Yep.
You find the right friends that become family, and then next thing you know, you're just having fun while learning.
Right.
And so I got out, and I didn't think I knew a lot. So that's why I wanted to do residency. And I got very lucky with West Virginia.
Okay.
They taught me basically everything I know. And got out. I worked a year in Chicago, which was great. I was very confident that I would just live in Chicago forever. And then here and there, I'd make my way back, and I would see you with all of my friends, and all of the friends were moving back. And I'm like, last time I saw Indianapolis was 7 years ago.
Wow.
A lot has changed, and I could live here.
Yeah.
My mom and dad would be so happy. My friends would be so happy. All right, let's move out here.
Yeah.
So made it out here, and then started working around, and then started our own thing after.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say would be the biggest challenges that you faced coming from India and then learning the language and choosing a profession that you're in? There had to be multiple challenges and obstacles that you had to go through.
Yeah. The biggest thing was I was 13, so you could still understand what families going through as a whole, what your parents are going through as a very low blue-collar family, paycheck to paycheck, and trying to make things and ends meet for their two sons. And so it was kind of a weird time for me. I couldn't really be a kid because I had a younger brother. And I couldn't really be an adult very quickly as well because school was teaching me to be a kid a little bit because I was still in high school.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest challenge. Just trying to find my niche in my age group because I was meant to act as a 20-year-old when I was a 13-year-old.
Right.
I had to take care of my brother, which I loved, make sure his homework's done, make sure my stuff is done.
Right.
And make sure the grades are great so that we don't have to go through what our parents are going through. You know, even though they're very educated, it's very hard to transfer the degrees and accomplishments they had in India to when you bring it over. A lot of it doesn't transfer. So, my dad had to change his profession.
Yeah.
And my mom luckily could stick with hers. So it worked out in that aspect, but wasn't working out they did the best they could.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was the biggest challenge besides just the language barrier. But then when you get into dentistry, it was after a few years of high school and college. And then you try to balance being in a school there are a lot of Indians in school, but most of them were born and raised in the country.
Yeah.
And so to find that group that you can be like, identify yourself with that, hey, you weren't born here. Yeah, you may look like you were born here, you may act like it, but you're not. And so that was a little bit difficult. But, when you're just focused on the things you've seen in the past, that it's so hard to make ends meet and you're chasing a goal that I want to make sure that my family, including my friends and my parents, my brother, they never have to go through that again. That, it's this economy and this social world is in such a way that money is always the rate determining factor, right?
Yeah.
And things you want in life a lot of times. I wanted to try my best to take that out of the equation. So for everybody that's surrounding me, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm working very hard towards that.
Yep.
But it's because of my life experiences for 2 decades that I can sit here and say that they've taught me so much.
Right.
You know, any other life, I don't think I've been pushing so hard. I would have been pushing so hard to do the things I am trying to do.
Right.
I think. You know?
Well, I think that you've reached a level and you're at a spot now where you own your own practice, correct?
Yes.
And what was the process and when did you decide it's time to do that?
So when I moved here, I was working before we opened 24/7 Dental, I'd worked for probably 6 people in like 2.5 years.
Yep.
And when you look at a resume and you're like, man, what is going on? There's something wrong with you.
Right.
You've been jumping around. And
so why does a person move around?
Yeah, there were always 2 things that I wanted. I wanted a good staff around me. If I didn't own the practice, let's say you owned a dental practice, and I applied, and you looked at my resume, you're like, man, this guy's been jumping ship like crazy. I don't think he's loyal, blah, blah, blah. What's wrong with him? And there were only 2 things that I wanted: a good staff, and give me a patient pool that I can produce money for you. You know, if I'm waking up and going to work, I don't want to sit on the couch and be on my phone. I should be seeing patients. So it's your responsibility as a business owner to provide the patients to me and to provide the staff to put me in a position where I can produce that money for you and take care of your patients in a ethical, timely manner so no one's waiting, no one's unhappy with their services. And that's what I saw in a lot of places, that either the owner was checked out or not doing much, or the staff wasn't great. I would train them as best as I could, but at the end of the day, if there's no patients, I can only do so much.
Right.
And we didn't reinvent the wheel by any means. You know, the practice we have, the type of practices we have, we basically, the practices I worked at, they had similar concepts. And I wanted to change some of the things to make it as close to perfection as we could.
Right.
And I didn't have the opportunity to do that. And with the support of my best friends, we took a leap and we started in 2017. We wanted to give it a fair shot, so we took it out of state and we started in Cincinnati.
Okay.
And so 2017 was really rough. You know, you're commuting back and forth. And you're staying there a lot of times and you're trying to make the practice work. And it's 5 years now and we are about to open our 5th one at the end of the year.
Nice, man.
And I think it just goes back to a lot of your messages you're preaching about, you know, good support, people that have good impact on you. I've surrounded myself with people that want to make not just themselves and me succeed, but put the business first, you know. We've always talked about making a hierarchy of priorities. It's family's always first. Business can be pushed to the side if there's a family issue. And then right after that, we were putting business. And making sure the ideals and the mentality is the same with the people around you was very crucial. And some of the challenges that we faced in the beginning was when we didn't have these priorities clarified and written down. Like, look, if this happens, you know, one of my business partners has a baby. Okay, anything related to baby, take off. It's no problem. Somebody else will pick it up. So things like that, and when we started this, we put all the things that I had thought of that would make the concept better. And even to this day, we're learning because I don't think we're close to perfection, you know. So as we open a new one, we realize, oh crap, you know, we should have done this better. And so we're learning and we're growing. We're trying to grow as fast as we can without cutting corners.
So how hands-on are you with the selection of your team?
So again, like life just chose some things for me, right? So I have 3 other business partners. My best friends, you know, I've known them for over 15 years. Rob being the only one that I'm known for maybe 4 years, you know. But when you hang out with a person 6 days out of the week, it kind of makes up for that time, right?
Correct.
So, but these people around me, I can trust them with my life, eyes closed. So They all bring a little different facet. You know, when you see a dental business, if it's owned by a business owner or partners, usually it's a bunch of dentists.
Yeah.
And I think that puts a little tunnel vision where you're just focused on dental school. By no means prepares you for business. They just put you out and go, okay, here's some teeth knowledge. Go do what you want to do with it.
Right.
But the other aspect of it is what I'm learning is what Rob brings to the table, what my other business partner, Matthew, brings to the table, other one, Harry, brings to the table. Their backgrounds are not dental related. You know, Matt is in therapy.
Yep.
He's a therapist.
Okay.
Hari is a IT consultant and does IT work for a children's hospital out of Chicago. And Rob's in finance.
Yep.
So those three guys, we just follow my lead when it comes to dental related, but when it comes to the business, there's 90% of the stuff that I don't know about.
Yep.
And so when it comes to the therapy background, he takes care of all the staff because he knows and he can talk to people much better than I could when it comes to what makes you unhappy. What can we do to make your life better when you work for 24/7 Dental?
Yep.
Hari's background allows him to market the practice really well from the Google standpoint, from the marketing standpoint to bring patients in.
Yep.
And then Rob's background is numbers.
Yep.
So he sits down with me and goes, okay, this is where we need to improve. This is where we can do better. And this is what's going to allow us to retain a lot more staff by paying them so much more.
Yep.
And so we feel like we have a secret sauce when it comes to 4 different people with different backgrounds.
Yep.
And, you know, people always wonder, they're like, you know, you're the dentist and I don't understand why you have non-dental partners. I'm like, this is something that I don't know.
Right.
I need to rely on them.
Right.
And they do a great job of making things work for 24/7.
That sounds like a dope recipe though for a business when you have someone who is in the industry and then you have other people having different visions, different perspectives. Because a dentist is going to see dental stuff.
Exactly. You nailed it. Different perspective. That's all we need, right?
Right.
You need some disruption to make things work.
Correct.
If things are going great and things are just perfect, there's something wrong. Because there's this thing as perfection when it comes to business, right?
Yeah.
You're just trying to chase something and trying to make it as better every different day.
Yep.
So that's where we are now.
Good. How would you describe your business? If you had to describe 24/7 Dental, like what would you describe it as?
So there's, as you know, even on the block outside, there's like 5 different dental practices. I think within the mile of this, there's over 12.
Dang.
So there's a lot of competition.
Yep.
But we know our niche and our mission is always access. For example, I can break that word down in 3 ways. You know, we give all of our patients access because they can go at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Not to just get a tooth out or get a tooth worked on because they're in pain, but you can go tonight at 8 and be like, I just need a cleaning. I've been busy in my life and I feel like I need one.
Yep.
Good. We'll take care of you at 8 p.m. You know, and because we're open 8 a.m. to midnight, 7 days a week.
Dang.
The second part of the access is insurance. There's so many patients that are on Medicaid that don't have a place to go to because they're on Medicaid.
Yeah.
And we take Medicaid. We take almost all the insurances under the sun. If we don't take one, we will take one and we'll figure it out behind the scenes because we'll take care of you that day.
Yep.
And the third is making sure we put our practices in areas that actually give people access to dental care. So there's one in Anderson, Indiana. You know, there's not a lot of dental practices there for so many farmers, so many AU students, for so many little rural areas around Anderson. And when we put one there, it gives them all the access.
Yep.
And we're open late, so it gets them to come after their work hours.
Yep.
And based on that, we handpick our demographics and sites, and we put one there.
Yep.
I think the only one we have in Indianapolis is right across Ben Davis. That opened March of this year.
Okay.
The reason we put it there is a lot of competition there, but they don't take Medicaid. And there's so many blue-collar families that are working so hard to put food on the table for their families, and they don't have time to take care of their teeth. Okay, so we put one there, come at 9 p.m. It's fine, we'll take care of you.
Yep.
Or come in and just do an exam and x-ray so you know what's happening, and then you don't need an appointment.
Yep.
Walk in, we'll take care of you.
I want to know, just this is a dental question for me.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
So dealing with dentists, is it it seems like the dentists that I've dealt with,
Yeah.
they have the weirdest hours. Like they're either open from like 5 to 2,
Yeah.
not open on Monday and Friday.
Yeah. And you know, I say this.
They work like Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah.
Thursday. You can only get in, and then if I call, they'll tell me, "Yeah, we'll get you in." And today is September.
Yeah.
They'll be like, "Yeah, we can get you in
November.
December."
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
All my
My
friends,
tooth hurt.
everybody's gonna be laughing when I say this, but you know, dentists are the laziest people you'll ever meet. You know, I know all my colleagues. They most of them work very hard.
Right.
But that's because you know you surround yourself with people that are after some goals and
Yeah.
hardworking. But for the most part, all dentists are so lazy, man. They don't want to work. They don't want to work Fridays.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't want to work Mondays.
Yeah.
And that's where we want to thrive on that. We want to give patients access on days where, for example, if you call tomorrow, hey, you know, I know, kid, I need to go in. You don't need to mention my name.
Yeah.
They will get you in tomorrow.
Right.
There are a lot of dental practices out there with hours like that because I don't know if it's 100% lazy, but it's more so way back in time, it was probably established that as a dentist, I'm only going to work Monday through Thursday. I don't want to work the Fridays. I'll try to do this. And I don't know who started it, but
But that's just the
been
norm.
going on. Yeah, it's been going on ever since.
Right.
And as far as my hands-on approach goes, when we open one of these, the first week or two, I'm there every day.
Okay.
So 8 a.m. to maybe 10 p.m., 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. I'm
Yep.
there every day. So it's like boot camp. I don't know where my next meal's coming from. I don't know what's happening. I just got to take care of these patients.
Yep.
I got to make sure all the systems are in place.
Yep.
And then we go out and look for associates. And we make sure that the dentist associates that we find, they're so happy. We make it very clear that, again, I know you don't want to work.
Right.
You're going to work just 2 days a week, but you're going to work long hours. And then you've got 5 days off.
That's
Take the
nice.
third day to recover.
Yep.
And you got 4 days with your family.
Yep.
And whatever financial goals you have, we'll put the patients in your chairs to make sure you can do the work, you can help them and achieve your financial goals.
Nice.
But you don't got to work 5 days
Right.
because we'll find 3 associates for one practice.
Yep.
So one will work 2, the second one will work 2, the third one will work 3, and we'll rotate.
Yep.
And so it works out.
Dang, that's a double little schedule there. I like that. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
So is that you guys' own concept or is
No,
that
we started off as an emergency dental practice. And then it just so turned out that there's so many patients that when we were there in the time of their need, they just wanted to stay with us. So we're like, okay,
Yeah.
I think we need to switch the concept to emergency / general as well. So we can have a family type practice
Yep.
with a lot of walk-ins and with patients that are having toothache for the same day. Okay, we'll fit you in, we'll take care of you that day.
Yep.
And so it just so happened to work out that we found a perfect blend. And it keeps evolving as we open more.
Yep.
And the associates like it because they don't have to work that many hours. I like it because I only have to go in when an associate either calls off
Yep.
or there's a hole in the schedule where they go, okay, I have no other dentist to work this day. Okay, I got to go work that day.
Right.
I try not to work as much as possible because in your head, there's a thing that you thought would be a perfect practice. And you thought you put that in place. And then when you go in, after 2 months of its opening and other associates have been working there, you realize that things have changed to their liking.
Yeah.
And the systems have changed a little bit. Yeah, it does well. The patients are very happy. The reviews are great. But when I go in and I see those things, I'm like, oh man, we got to change this.
Yeah.
And I try to avoid that because
Right.
it's not my primary place of occupation. It's their primary place.
Right,
of
right.
It's their practice.
Yep.
So
Kind of like we were talking about perspectives. Like
Yeah.
in their perspective, that's how it should be run.
Exactly.
You see it differently because you
Yeah.
have a different perspective of what you see it
Exactly.
run. Yeah.
But it works. So
Yeah.
there's 100 ways to skin a cat, right? So
Right.
it absolutely works. So as little as I can work is better. As little as I can be hands-on with patients, it's better so I can step out and focus on growing this thing as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I think as far as the growth goes, there's so many patients that have liked that we can take care of them that day, that we can take their insurance, that if you don't have insurance or cash fees are below average on any block, So our fees, we change around. If we put one in Indianapolis, okay, a lot of people around us are charging our prices. We got to drop them because we're taking care of people's teeth. At the end of the day, we're not trying to charge $500 for taking a tooth out. If the guy around us is charging, if the practices around us are charging $250, let's drop that down to $220 because we don't need to do that. So that way it also brings the patients in and it makes them happy that they didn't have to give an arm and a leg to take care of their toothache because they're helpless. So just a sort of a med express for dentistry, but it just kind of evolved as we opened, as the years went by as well.
Dope. What would you say would be the best advice you've ever been given along your journey? Like who's giving it to you and what is it?
So my mentor in West Virginia, God bless his soul, he was 79 and he was still working as an associate professor, and this Persian guy. I feel like every time I asked him a question, it was never a straight answer. It was always like a proverb. And I'm like, man, I got to think about this. I got to take care of this patient, but you were telling me something that it's a riddle. And one of the things he always said to me was, whatever you get into, if it's business, if it's anything you're working, make sure there's nothing more important than people. So you make sure you take care of the people and everything will just follow. If you're chasing money, if you're chasing revenue, if you're chasing numbers, goals on, we got to see 200 patients this month. Don't worry about any of that. Just take care of the people that are working with you and for your business, and everything will just follow. It might lag, but it'll all follow. So we do our best to take care of every staff member.
Nice.
There's no real boss in there except for maybe the office manager, but everybody's on the same level, whether it's the janitorial guy or whether it's the dentist. You're all on the same level to make sure that this is bigger than any of you guys. Just take care of each other and leave it to us to take care of you guys, and everything will be just fine.
You treat your team members with respect and give them some skin in the game. Then they'll treat it like they own it.
Go a long way, right?
What's different about you, 13-year-old kid, and today? Like, how have you changed as a person?
I think there's been a lot of times in my life where sometimes when you get out and you're like, I accomplished something. I'm a dentist. I did this. I opened a practice with my friends. I did this. What I learned along the way was I need to make sure my family and my close friends that are family that are around me at all times, because that's what keeps you as a person grounded and keeps you humble and keeps you thriving for more to make everybody's lives better around you. So I didn't have that concept and that understanding at an early age. And I learned that along the way through my journey, that I got to make sure these people that are around me, they're always around. They're a call away, or don't try to do this on your own. There's some days where I'll feel like, I feel like I got to do so much work to make this work even further. And so many days out of the month, it'll be so stressful. I'll just go home to my parents. 30 minutes hanging out with them. We're not even talking about anything. They think they are, there's always these families where you think the kids are on their phones and they're barely talking. My phone's put away. They're on their phones, on WhatsApp or Instagram, or doing something, or headphones with TV. But just sitting there, it just brings you back to, resets you, brings you on ground zero. That you can do this. These are the people you're working for. So figure it out, but you don't have to get too stressed. And slowly work your way.
Where do you see your business, your professional career going in the next 5 years?
So I'm trying to,
what's your business goals?
So we're trying to, at first we thought, let's open an X amount of practices, take care of as many people as we can. And maybe down the road, think about what we have created, and do we want to keep creating more, or are we content with what we have and just keep focusing on that? And as we do that, I'm realizing more and more that some of these with the right people you put in place,
Mm-hmm.
they're running on their own, and people are running it as their own practice
Yep.
and as their own business. So that kind of gives us a lot of breathing room to keep creating more and more. So to answer your question, I don't know if we have a finite number that we want to stop at. I think we want to take this as far as we can, grow it, whether it's 10, 15, whatever it could be. And where it gets to a point where like we've created something that we can look back and go, okay, we're taking care of so many patients. We're taking care of so many staff members, so many dentists. Let's just stay status quo and make sure we can go back to practice number one and see if there's anything we can do better, and then roll it out everywhere else.
Right.
Because there's always room to grow. But I don't know what number we're going to stop at. We're going to try to grow as much as possible.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot to scale something, and I'm learning this as I go, is there's so many mistakes that some business owners make that business number one is not functioning perfectly, and they move on to business number two.
Yeah.
And now both businesses struggle.
Yep.
And then it kind of boils down and trickles down to the staff, the pressure of doing something that they don't have the capability to, because we're not providing them with the armamentarium. Do it,
Yep.
So things like that. And I also got to keep in mind, I want to make sure my family understands that, okay, you got to slow down a little bit, have some family time. So those things like that. And that goes back to priorities, right? Family is number one. So if that ever becomes an issue that, okay, you guys are too busy with work and families are kind of struggling, whether it's attention or need, okay, back off. And so I think we're going to get to that point probably in 5 to 7 years.
Okay.
Where we need to kind of slow down and focus on the things that really matter in life. you know?
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's fun for you? Like, what do you do for fun?
Man,
when you're not in a mouth or
my
doing business.
Biggest hobby. I was hoping you'd ask this. I love cooking. So if I could have cooked the food I got you today, I would have done it. But after that bad coleslaw, I was in a really weird place and just kept eating food that was made outside.
Man, hey, let me tell you. So Kit walked in and he had a bag of food and he presented me some Indian food.
Yep.
You said it's gonna be spicy, so I'm scared, but but he brought me food. And that is a first. No one has ever brought me food ever.
I was gonna bring you a shirt, which I'll get you anyways. But I'm like, okay, Stretch is a pretty big dude. What size? I don't want to get the wrong size. You know what? I'm just going to give you the language that I think is the language of love, food.
Food is the language of love.
So I'm going to bring that.
Yeah. I'm excited, man. I can't wait to taste it.
It's going to be, hopefully it's not too spicy.
Okay.
But next time what I'll do is when I drop off these shirts,
Yep.
I'll also bring you something I made.
Oh,
And so you can tell
What's
me.
your favorite dish to cook?
Oh, man, I love making steaks.
Oh.
Love making steaks. And I feel like it's such an easy thing to do, but I've messed up on the temperature so many times that I'm learning as I go. And some days...
Also, wait a minute. If you like cooking steaks, you have to... How do you like it cooked?
I cook it medium rare.
Medium rare.
Yeah.
That's barely cooking it.
That's just step up. I used to eat them rare 5 years ago. And then I learned, it all comes down from my grandpa. My grandpa is a great cook. He never ate meat, but he's a great cook.
Yep.
And he cooks so many meats and he does them well. And I'm like, how do you know how to cook this so well if
And you don't eat it?
Yeah. But over the years, as I was learning and eating, and anytime I'd order a medium well or something like that, I was at a restaurant, I think it was Prime 47, and one of the guys was like, that was sitting next to me, was like, you know food. You eat great food. Why do you order it well done? I'm like, all right, let me go down a little bit, medium. And then over the years, I'm like, I just got to try this rare. Let's see. And then I just loved it.
Oh,
and
man.
kept eating it rare.
Scared.
So then I stepped it up because I would have a lot of eyes on me when I ordered it rare. And people would just look at me. Sometimes you feel that peer pressure. All right, medium rare it is. I'll hit
Cook it a little bit.
Yeah. Keep it on there for 10 seconds longer.
Wow. You are very successful.
I'm trying to be.
You're well. If we're just looking at the average person, your level of success to me is above average.
I appreciate that.
Okay. how would you define it? How would you define success to you? What is success?
So, yeah, like I illuminated a little bit on it that I don't want money to ever be a factor for someone to choose between a want and a need, right?
Yeah.
So that's just one minor thing. But the biggest thing is, at the end of the day, if we can provide your closest friends that are family and your family with everything without hurting your own family, I think that's it right there. Provide everything for everybody without actually being hurt. As long as it becomes like a beneficial relationship where it doesn't have to be fully like, I did 100% for you, so do 100. No, as long as we can do and achieve all our dreams together, I think that's right there successful. If I'm at a practice or if I'm at work or if I'm at a business, if I'm not doing it with my closest family or friends, then it's nothing for me. It's like, it's not, I'm in this alone and I don't want to do that. So it all just goes back to just people around you and family. If they're all around you and they are happy and they feel like they're successful because we all did something together, that to me is the dream right there.
Right.
That to me is success.
All right.
Money alone or cars, houses, you're doing this alone. You know, I feel like that is very, I'm almost kind of, I feel kind of sad about it because I'm like, man, I don't ever want to be that. I don't ever want to lose my path to get to that. I want to stay on this where I'm making sure people are bringing me with them and I'm bringing them with me and making sure that we're all in this together.
So how close are you in your life to your definition of success then?
I would say 7 years.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as we, before it was 10. So as we keep focusing more and more, it keeps decreasing.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that it decreases even more.
Yeah. What do you have anything that like you give back?
Yes.
You do a lot. You do a lot for others and people in need. What is it? Because you explained it to me before.
I'm glad you asked that. So this is something that if there's one thing that I've been really passionate about in what we do, besides having the staff and dentists and people being so grateful towards what we do, this is the one thing that sticks out without a doubt. It's a foundation called The Villages.
Yep.
And they are very interesting, nonprofit organization. They have an office right past 30th and Meridian.
Okay.
They have placed so many non-family kids and kids that are going through the system and all of that into their forever families.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing, this was brought to me because of Rob.
Yep.
And when it was brought...
Rob Triplett, shout out.
Yeah, Rob Triplett. He's in Minneapolis now. Hopefully it's so cold that he moves back. But yeah, it was brought to us by Rob, and we gave it no thought whatsoever when we said, we got to take care of them. How can we get involved? So we met with them, and if there's one humbling meeting that I ever had in my life when it came to business, it was that there were tears all around the table.
Wow.
When we said, hey, we'd love to take care of these kids, obviously free of charge, at any of the locations we have. Let's pick one day a quarter to take care of the kids. I'll take care of them myself. Exams, cleanings, whatever they need besides braces, because I don't know how to do those.
Right.
Anything else they need, we will take care of them.
Wow.
And man, it was very humbling. There were tears all across the board.
Oh, I bet.
And
I mean, that's a cost that you eliminate in that situation. That's amazing.
And then once we brought that to them, they opened up more about, there's a kid that I saw in Anderson a year ago. It'll stick to me forever because I was like, man, I saw you a couple months ago at the Villages or somewhere at a foundation somewhere. And you said you were doing fine. You had a brush. You're brushing your teeth. What happened? He goes, well, I'm with the new family and I couldn't take my brush. And I was like, oh, man, here's 5. Here's what, just keep them around. But, you tell your parent or whoever's around you that you think you can talk to and just be like, I just need to go to the dentist.
Yeah.
And somehow the message will get to me and we'll work this out. And so I think that day I must have seen maybe 18 kids and they're great. A lot of the kids, man, they're just so happy. There's always a fear of seeing kids because I don't see them ever except for the Villages.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, man, I don't want to be the one to scar them for the rest of their lives.
Right,
you know?
right.
I got to put this mask on to get in, and I don't want them to see just eyes and be like, what is this guy gonna do?
Right.
And so, but it was such a positive outcome.
Good.
And we're just trying to do as much more as we can.
Yep.
And it becomes an issue of also logistics of how can we get the families to get some time to bring them as well.
Yep.
And that's when our hours help a lot. Because even though we're open till midnight, I'm like, we can start at 9 p.m. as long as the kids don't have anything the next day.
Yep.
We have zero issues. We'll make sure staff's around.
Yep.
And all of our staff was there. That was also another humbling experience because we had to ask them, even though we would pay them, we had to ask them that, hey, if you guys can stay a little bit, blah, 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 zero concerns.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that goes back to just taking care of the people around you, and then they will trust you in your leadership with whatever you're doing.
Yep.
And so, yeah, we work very closely with them.
Good.
We try to do as much as we can for the kids to make sure. Only thing we can do is take care of their teeth.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we can't take care of anything else.
Right, right.
If we could, we would.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, they don't really have a lot of work. It's more so to make sure they get familiar, they keep up with their cleaning, so they don't get scared of the dentist. You know, a lot of the people in their 50s that are losing all of their teeth, maybe like 50% of them has probably had one bad experience with the dentist and they've never gone back.
Right.
Because they're like, no, this guy did this, I'm not doing it.
Be scared of them dentists.
I know.
Man. I need to go sleep.
Yeah, we have that too.
Put me to sleep, bro. Put me to sleep.
We put you in, we give you laughing gas, and you're just in la la land. I mean, your eyes are awake, but you just don't care what I'm gonna do.
Man, I always feel nauseous with the laughing gas.
The laughing, it happens. It's side effect. We gotta slowly turn it up.
Okay.
You know? If you go prop, you're gonna be like, oh my god, I gotta throw up.
Yeah, I feel.
Or your
nauseous.
head's gonna be spinning so much, you're gonna feel nauseous.
Yeah. I just want to say to you that this conversation has been very meaningful, and I am happy that your story is out there.
I really appreciate you giving me the platform to do it.
And I'm happy that our friendship came to this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I was glad to have another friend on doing big things. And I'm proud of you as your friend.
I really appreciate
I've always been proud of you. And I want to thank you for coming. But I do want to ask you a question. If you could choose, and you were, let's say you were the most athletic person in the world, and you can choose any sport to play professionally, what sport and what position would you play?
Soccer, striker.
Ooh, okay.
Man,
okay.
those guys, I would have said, 10 years ago, I would have said basketball.
Okay.
But I've watched so much soccer.
Yeah.
So much football.
Yeah.
And man, those guys are not only just, not to take anything away from any other sport,
Right.
but off the field too.
Yeah.
Their lifestyle is just incredible, man. They're not only just, the money's in all, it just comes with it, right? They're making insane amounts of money.
Yep.
But the impact they're having, you know, NBA has gone across the borders. And I think back in the day, like Michael's name and then Kobe got it all over in Japan and Asia. And it's everywhere, you know? But man, you drop Messi's name or Ronaldo's name and you almost have goosebumps. You know?
Right.
You drop Michael's name and Kobe's name, you do have the same things.
Yeah.
But you can go to like a village in South America. They might not know who Michael or LeBron is. You know, they'll know who Ronaldo and Messi is.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will. Well, okay, soccer.
What about you?
You know, I have two sports that I think are there at the pinnacle. I would love to be the greatest boxer.
Really? Okay, great.
I love boxing, and I just think that, you know, their bodies, their endurance,
is
and it's just them.
Yeah,
they are in the ring it's man on man, and you win. You know, also tennis. I just love the athleticism of tennis.
Their endurance is insane too.
Their endurance is insane. Their lateral movement is crazy. Their hand-eye coordination is insane.
The power they're creating with that.
Yeah, man. When I watch Serena, oh my God. Like for her size, to move the way she does. And there's this scene where she was going after the ball and she did the splits. And her legs split like...
I saw that in the U.S. Open right now.
It was crazy. Like her legs were like... She did a splits, and I was like, dude, she looks huge, but she's so solid.
All that muscle memory is insane.
It's crazy. But I would say boxing or tennis.
Tennis is great. I mean, we just saw a 19-year-old become #1 in the world.
Right.
ever
Right.
done. It's insane.
Right. That's crazy.
Cat out of Spain, like,
Yeah.
and he's probably living in Nadal's shadow all his life.
I know.
Right?
I know.
And now he can say, I'm the only number one in the world.
That is
above
it.
Nadal.
I know.
It's crazy.
Well, that's all I have for you.
I appreciate
I
it.
really appreciate you coming, and I hope you know that if you ever need me, I am here for you all the time.
I really appreciate it. Thank you, Shred.
Absolutely.
This was a
and
pleasure.
I do want to do something with you and Rob too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd
I think
be
it'll
dope.
bring a whole different facet
Yep.
of things that I'm not aware of.
Yep.
And what he's done and what he's done in his life to get to where he is. It's a very, very interesting story, and
Yep.
it'll be fantastic.
Yeah, but then we can also bring some light to your charitable donations
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. He
Yeah.
wants to point on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Good job. Good job. Thanks for coming out. Also, do you have social medias for your dentistry and all that?
Yes. We have the practice name is 24/7 Dental, and it's at 247 Dental.
Yep.
And we post time to time,
Yep.
but anytime you go on the website, you'll see all of our locations. They are the closest one, like I said, is right across Ben Davis.
Yep.
We're gonna open one on 10th and Shadeland on the east side because
Okay.
there's a need there.
Wow.
But yeah, outskirts as well: Anderson, Indiana, Columbus, Indiana, and there's one out in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thanks for coming. I want everybody to go to followdmoney.com and buy some merch. Donate some money. You know, this costs money to do, you know. But I want to appreciate Kit coming out and spending time with me, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Yeah.